For many, university is the bridge that joins together school and our dream job. When searching for the right university, there are many factors that need to be taken into account. If you pick a university without taking into account these variables, you might be studying somewhere for 3 years that is not right for you. So, therefore, what factors do we need to take into account? Hi everyone, my name is Peter. I'm a physiotherapy student within the UK. If you're new to the channel, then the channel mainly covers help for physiotherapy students going through their university degree, but I will also cover content that helps university students in general, and I'll also be covering more generic content related to productivity, personal growth, stuff like that. In this video, I'll be discussing key variables that I think are really important when considering what university to study at for your physiotherapy degree. But in this video, the points I'll be discussing, they're important for university degrees in general. The first point is in relation to the location of the university. For example, if you're more of an extrovert and you like going to house parties and especially if you like going clubbing and going to bars, then picking a university that is situated in a city that is known for its nightlife for students is really important. If you're a bit of an introvert like me and you don't really go clubbing very often, yet say for example you like studying in a library, then good libraries will have dedicated studying spaces. So maybe in your case picking a good library is important for you, but the point I'm trying to get at is outside the degree and all the different factors that are still important, but there's a lot of factors outside university academic life that are still really important to take into account in regards to the location of the university. More specific to physiotherapy, another point is in relation to the orientation of the course. What I mean by this is, for physiotherapy, if you want to go in the sports sector or more the clinical sector, I'm sure there's some degrees out there that focus more on sport than clinical. Equally, there's some universities that focus more on research than actually being a practitioner, whilst both of them will cover elements of research and being a practitioner. But it's these over-encompassing general factors that again are really important to take into account. Another really important variable is the distance you have to travel from your home to the university. This factor is important and well thought of for 3 good reasons. Firstly, it's just an inconvenience logistically/financially if you're having to live away from home. So if you live far away, it's going to cost a lot of money for petrol, or for getting a train, if you don't have a car, for getting back home. And logistically, it's just going to take a lot of time going back and forth. Secondly, you might get homesick. For me, this wasn't as much of an issue for me because I already boarded and I had parents that went away for traveling for work quite a lot. So I was used to being away from my family and also being away from home. But some people really like to see their parents on a weekly/monthly basis. So if you do get homesick very easily, it doesn't make sense to have a university that's 7 hours across the country. Also, if a lot of your lectures are online, you might not even be going into university anyway. Lastly, the university will have connections, and it makes sense that these connections are situated around the university. So if these connections end up giving you a job after your degree, then you're going to be working away from home as well as having your degree away from home. So if working near home and your friends is really important, then this is also a really important factor to take into account. However, yes, there is flexibility in regards to where you can work. I'm just saying the university might have connections and might be able to give you a good job, but only if it's near the university, for example. Something else to think of is the overall university reputation. Now, you can get this from just looking online, but a good summary for this is looking at university league tables. I believe the 2 big ones were the Complete University Guide, and I believe either The Guardian or The Times has their own table. So looking at tables and good things like this that summarises the overall information of the university is good to assess their academic reputation. Next is in relation to the facilities/the staff. Now, this is the ratio between the staff/facilities and the students. If you're someone like me that likes a lot of feedback from my assignments and likes it timely, and also likes to book tutorials with staff to discuss assignments and whether I'm on the right track, then if you've got a ratio that isn't great, so for example, I've mentioned this in a previous video, but if you've got a ratio between students and staff that's like, I don't know, half a dozen staff and hundreds of students, it's unlikely that you're going to find it easy to get a lot of one-on-one support. This ratio also extends to facilities. There's been times where I have tried to book equipment for my dissertation testing, that is, you will likely do as well, especially if you've got a hands-on degree, like a science degree. And it is an absolute nightmare booking equipment for your testing if there isn't enough of it. Also, how good are the facilities? Are they the gold standard, or have they not been updated for a long time? And not just course specific, but just in general, how recently has the computers been updated in the library, for example? The factors for just facilities in general is really important. When looking at the different degrees you can do, look at the specific course information. When deliberating on what university to go to, pay close attention to the course content, because even though it might seem similar across different degrees, different universities will cover slightly different content. As I said before, they'll orientate themselves towards different ways, but also the modules will just be structured slightly differently as well. So one of the questions you want to ask yourself when looking at the course is, do I find this interesting? Because if you don't find it interesting just reading the blurb about the course modules, it's unlikely you're going to find it interesting when you're going to be studying the degree for about 3 years. Another thing, to be realistic, you need to look at the grade requirements. I'm not saying you need to be overly pessimistic or optimistic. I would advise you to look at the grade requirements, and if you're applying to multiple universities, apply to universities that are above your predicted / what grade you're currently getting, and also below, as well as matching your current predicted grades as well. Because even if you don't do as well as you thought you were going to do, or even if you do even better, then that means you're prepared for different universities to go to. One of the worst feelings is when you had your eyes set on one or a few universities and you're going to have to go through clearing, and then you're scrambling for different universities to go to because you booked universities or applied for universities that are too high up in regards to the grade requirements in relation to your own grades. If you're doing a degree like mine, like physiotherapy, then you're going to be having placement. And looking at the placement and the opportunities there at the university is again really important. So thinking about things, do they have an elective placement? How far are the placement opportunities to the university? How many hours do they expect me to have? All these factors in general are really important to think about. Because if you've got to go to your placement multiple times a week, no one likes to be stuck in traffic if it's hours and hours away, so important to think about. In regards to how they teach you, you've got lectures, practicals, seminars, and in regards to how they test you, you've got essays, you've got exams, you've got multiple different ways. If you're someone who is a visual / kinesthetic learner like me, then having more practicals might be more suitable for you. And if you're someone who likes to study for exams, then exams might be more preferable for you. Most universities will be quite spread out in regard to how they test and teach you, but some I have noticed will lean towards one way or the other. More of a bonus point, again, this is more niche, but this can help you save hundreds and thousands of pounds. Try to look whether the university has a master's degree that is similar to your bachelor's degree in regards to the subject that they teach. So, for a lot of reasons, academic inflation being one of the big ones, a lot of jobs require you to have a master's degree as well as a bachelor's degree. And if in my case, having a master's degree really does advance your career prospects, then some universities will give you like a 10% discount on doing a master's degree if you did a bachelor's degree at their university. And again, this can save you quite a lot of money in the long run. One of the most important points here is in relation to accommodation. In first year, it is very likely you're going to be staying in student halls. And if you're in halls that are very cramped and you're on top of each other, then if you're with students that you don't really get along with, then this can become frustrating very quickly. Also, think about which things are specific to you. Me, I'm fairly tall. I'm about 6'4". So for me, having a single bed isn't going to cut it. So think about what you can afford, think about what kind of requirements you need in regards to your accommodation, and then try and look for that accordingly. As an extra thing to keep in mind, if you don't get into the university that you really dreamed of, it's not the end of the world. There are many people that either didn't get the degree classification they wanted or went to a lesser uni than what they would have wanted, and they still ended up doing a really good master's degree or ended up progressing through their career really well later in life. More specifically to physiotherapy, there's an organisation called the HCPC, and this is the governing body for many medical practitioners such as physiotherapists. For you to become accredited by the CSP as a physiotherapist, your degree needs to meet certain standards by the HCPC. So in relation to this, the university is going to be good enough for you to be employed straight after your degree and to be accredited as a physiotherapist. So unlike a lot of other courses and different subjects, my understanding is the difference between different physiotherapy degrees isn't as huge compared to other subjects. Again, I might be wrong because I haven't done the other subjects, you know, the grass is greener on the other side, but this is what I've heard. Again, also, even if you don't go into physiotherapy, or if you're a viewer that is not thinking about physiotherapy at all, let's just say if you want to go into maths, for example, or English, or whatever it is, this video is still really relevant for you because it labels factors that are important for almost anyone choosing a degree at university. Taking into account all these factors, what I personally did was I made an Excel spreadsheet and I scored the universities based on a lot of different factors. And then I use this to inform my understanding of what university to go to. At school, we are taught many subjects we don't enjoy, and university is our opportunity to delve into a subject that we are hopefully wholeheartedly passionate about, that will give us skills, knowledge, experience and independence to become lifelong learners and to make our mark on the world. Regardless of your situation, I hope this video was helpful to you. If you are doing physiotherapy and you want to know how to boss your physiotherapy interview, then check out this video up top for more information. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Adios amigos.